Alright everyone, always beware one major propaganda tactic of the corporate media is to simply provide a misleading title, subtitle, and maybe first paragraph within a story knowing that 99% of people don't read any further. They see the title, most of them. They absorb their knowledge from literally what the title is. So when I saw articles the other day saying that Trump was considering rejoining the TPP, naturally, if you show somebody that, their immediate inclination is to say, oh, Trump wants to rejoin it as it is. That's not actually the case. What happened is that Trump is actually holding to a campaign promise. His campaign promise was, we will not sign the TPP in its current form. We will renegotiate it if we can, and then we can consider joining it if its problems are taken care of first. Otherwise, we won't be joining it. He never proclaimed during the campaign that he would absolutely not join it. That is, he simply said that it needed major changes. However, I will tell you this, in all honesty, I wouldn't support even joining it if he managed to negotiate it to the point where it was beneficial to the U.S. I'll tell you why. The problem is, I may think that Trump honestly wants the TPP to be turned into an actual free trade deal, as opposed to the intervened in bullshit so-called free trade of globalism that it is now, which is basically about allowing multinational corporations to sue smaller competitors. That's what the TPP is right now. Let's say he manages to change it so that it's no longer that, it actually is a free trade deal. It actually is about maybe even smaller firms being able to do business across the Pacific and not be screwed over by some tariff, by some penalty or fee or something. Let's say he improves it. What guarantee do I have that the next president isn't a total fucking Obama/Bush style globalist who simply reverses that and says, okay, I don't like the TPP in its current form because of some, non-issue that actually is probably good in nature, but they'll make a big argument about how it's bad. We need to renegotiate it, and then they'll turn it back into the TPP 1.0, which is basically, hey, corporations in every state will be able to sue small businesses and entrepreneurs in all these other nations, driving them out of business for their other corporate monopolistic buddies. Essentially, the TPP, taken to its logical end conclusion, will create a multinational monopolistic system that it breaks free from all forms of competitive process. That is, it is anti-capitalistic in nature. It's not a free trade deal. A lot of people that say, well, you should be for the TPP because it's a free trade deal. You don't know what you're talking about. That's like saying that the Patriot Act has to do with patriotism. It doesn't. It has to do with expanding domestic surveillance. It has to do with denigrating the Constitution. It has to do with reducing patriotism and making the country worse in every possible measure. But you say free trade deal, and so you're so propaganda-addled you actually take the label seriously. It is exactly the same phenomena that has some Trump fans spitting flames at Trump right now, saying, "Whoa, you shouldn't be willing to rejoin the TPP." That's not what he's saying. What he said has nothing to do with that. What he said is that we might try to negotiate it into a better form. Again, though, I still obviously oppose it, but don't fearmonger. It's just clickbait nonsense. This is the biggest way in which the corporate media has begun to lie. They know that the average person does not... It's like if I make a YouTube video. The average person does not pay attention to the entire video. They leave somewhere before the halfway point. I have to, in the first minute or minute and a half or so, basically sum up what I then talk about for people who are going to leave early. I'm well aware of this fact. I structure my videos accordingly whenever possible, unless there's some reason why I have to do so differently. The legacy media knows this. They know that the human inclination is low attention span, low info voter, low info everything. So they're going to take a title. They know that a sizable minority of people will read the title and subtitle. They won't even read the article. They won't even click on it. So they can make it clear, oh, Trump is doing something that even people on the center-left largely dislike. This was a major victory for Trump, by the way. His only major victory so far, with people outside of the Rust Belt, I mean, of course, that are more left-leaning, was really on not signing the TPP. This was an issue. Even the majority of Democrats did not want to sign the TPP. Now, Hillary Clinton called it the gold standard of trade deals, which shows exactly what a lot of us voted against, that and her statements on Iran, or maybe Gaddafi, or the fact that her husband rapes people allegedly on a regular basis. That's a big reason why Hillary Clinton lost, was probably embracing the TPP. There were so many things, by the way, in a race that was so close in so many states, like Michigan, Wisconsin, even Pennsylvania to an extent, certainly Florida or Virginia or North Carolina, in a race that close. Any of Hillary Clinton's major mistakes, not showing up for that one rally in North Carolina, not campaigning in Wisconsin, calling the TPP a really good thing, her Gaddafi jokes, her Iran statements from the last nomination process running against Obama in 2007 and 08, all of these things individually probably would have given her the presidency if she had just held off and done something differently. It was that close in so many states. So funny. Thank goodness she's prone to making stupid decisions, maybe. But Trump's core fan base is being directly targeted. Trump's core fans and the progressives, the two groups that the neolibs and neocons hate, which collectively are probably at this point almost half the population, are being directly targeted by propaganda with the TPP tail. Absolutely. You can tell that because there's no reason why they would possibly make that the title of their articles unless they sought to mislead people. The title should be Trump seeks to renegotiate NAFTA, the TPP, considers rejoining if renegotiated. Not, hey, Trump is considering rejoining it. Well, that implies that it's not going to be renegotiated. He's simply coming crawling back to these other nations to beg them to let the U.S. back aboard with a shitty trade deal that's not going to have any positive impact on our industry at all. It'd have a negative impact. He knows this. There's a reason why he's hardlining Canada and Mexico on NAFTA right now. He's doing a good thing, by the way, by doing so. People want to pretend that him spurning Trudeau a little bit or hardlining the Mexican government is xenophobic. It's pissing off our allies. It's a bad thing. No, it's about economics. Trump is an economic president. When he decides to do the whole double up on your message thing in Syria, it's probably for money reasons too. I don't support that because I see that as too dangerous. I wouldn't be willing to engage in such a thing, but I think he at least thinks he knows what he's doing on the Middle East. I may respectfully disagree with some of that. If he were to strike Syria, I would be extremely upset. It'd be a hair's width at most from me dropping him like a hot potato and saying, okay, fucking enough is enough. War is where I draw the line because I don't want to see people suffer and get blown up and killed. On trade deals, though, if he actually thinks he can renegotiate the TPP into a final form that is beneficial economically to the U.S., it doesn't screw us. It doesn't screw small businesses, entrepreneurs, U.S. industry. You can try it out, but the thing is I reserve the right to decline to support it anyway because of its malleability. It's being renegotiated over and over again. People sign on to it, and yet it still changes form. It's like, that doesn't sound like a safe arrangement to me. What, so a couple states decide a year later, like, let's say we sign it. Trump negotiates a new form for it, and it's good. Then we sign it. And then a couple years later, Malaysia and the Philippines say, no, we don't like it the way it is. We're renegotiating it again. What, so we're going to get penalized for, like, dropping it? Unsigning it, or maybe we'll be prevented from doing so by saying we'll be treaty bound to oblige it for the next 1,000 years or something. That's how these things work. Look, it's so opaque that we can't even read the whole thing. We're not even allowed to see the whole text of the TPP. We just have a general idea of what's in it. It's like any of these opaque bills and deals. They should always be vetoed. They should always be considered unacceptable. Anything that is opaque, if you can't read through the text of it, it shouldn't be passed. If you can't read the text of it, no president should sign on to it. It doesn't make sense. The people have a right to their own best interests. And I like to think, regardless of what the establishment lame streamers may say, people know generally what's best for themselves more than government does. The government that's not involved with their day-to-day lives. They're not even a random sampling of the population here or anywhere else. The government's richer. The government's older, it's more authoritarian, it tends to be neoliberal, more globalistic. Well, there you go, there's the problem. I think we've just isolated why there are a lot of problems within all of the member states that would sign on to the TPP. And it's the same anywhere in the world. It's not just here in the West or in the Pacific Rim. It's all these other deals, we got NAFTA and CAFTA and all these other bullshit deals. They're not about free trade, they're about corporate monopolies, really. So I oppose it. Hopefully Trump, he can negotiate it all at once. He may find a final form that's palatable to the public, including to his own fans. I won't support it, though. I don't care how much he renegotiates it. I think it's a bad idea. to sign on to any such deal. Just let people literally just have literal free trade, which is, hey, the government takes a hands-off approach. These private businesses can make their own prices. They can sell their goods overseas. They don't need some fucking license to do it. Let them go trade their stuff. Let it be amiable and friendly like it used to be in the past. The United States was simply open to business for anyone we were not actively at war at. If you didn't attack us, I don't care. Who fucking cares? Go ahead and trade with us and our companies freely. These U.S. firms, individuals have the right to get whatever goods they want. The government should stay out of it. It's none of their business. It's none of the government's business what people buy. It's none of the government's business what people sell. Yes, I extend that to drugs, firearms, absolutely. Of course I do. Because that's the way to live. That's the way to be a citizen instead of a subject or a slave, a servant of some kind of serf. It's funny how they all start with S, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.